Science and Tech sector. Honorable Minister, Science and Tech.
Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers here, the Honorable Minister for Water Resources, and our host, the Honorable Minister for Information. Members of the press, both the print and electronic media, ladies and gentlemen, once again, on behalf of the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, I want to thank His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, GCFR, for appointing me to serve in this ministry. I also want to thank the Honorable Minister of Information and his crew for giving us the opportunity to present our scorecard to this nation. It's all about accountability of leadership. And leadership is seen to have an intent of 3 M's: the message, the model, and the motivation. The message of the leadership of this regime is the transformation agenda of His Excellency, Mr. President. The model is driving science and technology. As knowledge-based economies has become fundamental for the socio-economic development of our nation and other nations. The use of knowledge technologies is, 1, to provide economic benefits, and 2, to create jobs. In a knowledge-based economy, we are bothered with the know-how, the know-who, the know-what, and the know-why. These 4 parameters are driven within the Science and Technology Ministry using the triple helix model of innovation. Now let's look at the triple helix model of innovation. By the time I finish with the model by which we are applying in the ministry, I will just give you examples of what we have achieved. Now, in the triple helix model, you have 3 entities: the government, the universities and research institutes, and the industries. Now, these form 3 components. Now, each of these spheres, as you can see there, have their responsibilities. While the government is bothered with law, tax, loans, administration, capacity building and infrastructure, the universities and the research institutes that form the integral part of the Ministry of Science and Technology are involved with teaching, research, infrastructure, capacity building. Now we have a 3rd component, which is the industries. Now this one has its own area of products, marketing, innovation, venture capitals, and commercialization. Now, except the government, the universities, and the industries come to have an interplay, we may not have development in terms of science and technology. So the next slide shows that when you have an interaction, what we call the interaction model, the government, the universities and industries come together. Now, this model ensures that government, industries, universities assume some of the capabilities of the other, even as each maintains its primary role and distinct identity. Now, let me go into the field forces. Sorry, I'm taking you through a few areas. Now, you can actually see three vectors. The government, which is looking upwards, of course, all power comes from God. The universities is the time axis. It takes you time to be trained and to be a researcher. And the industry is out of the system. Now, these three components have to be resolved in any science-driven entity. Now, that's why we have the resolve force. Now, what is the product of the resolve force? The next slide shows that E means that all what we are trying to do has to be commercialized. Once commercialization of research output is done, jobs will be created, innovations for development will be seen. Now, there is a problem in this country in that some of these research outputs have not been commercialized. Now you see them as I give you the output and achievements of this administration. Now the key activities. The first thing I did was to identify the technologies driven to implement the STI policy. We have biotech. Now listen attentively. Biotechnology, building and road research, technology, technology management, solar technology, space science technology, laboratory technology, leather technology, technology incubation, natural medicine, material science, chemical technology, renewable energy technology, food science technology, and finally, engineering infrastructure technology. Now, all these technologies have to be driven within research institutes in the ministry. Now, there is the first thing I did when I came on board. I looked at the priority programs and projects. Then I discovered that 5 of them could be grouped as the key, areas of intervention, which I will give my major discussions on today. First is space technology, followed by solar technology, engineering and manufacturing technology, biotechnology, building and roads technology. Now, the key outputs as the midterm report for this administration. The first thing I did was to launch the STI policy. That is the Science, Technology, and Innovation Policy for Nigeria. Hitherto, it was done anyhow, but we need to come together and put in a holistic form the policies of driving science and technology in Nigeria. Now, the first step I took was to review the STI policy. The second step was to have the approval done by the Federal Executive Council. Because the steps of the righteous are ordered, I went further for a third step. The STI policy, which was actually to show the KPIs, and the next step was actually to redesign the national policy itself, and finally, we ended a process in motion in terms of governance, funding, and implementation of this policy. Now, I left the place of this country, and I took this policy to UNESCO. Now you can see the Director General of UNESCO admiring, appraising this policy, because this policy contains everything you have to do in this nation, starting from wood technology, engineering infrastructure, energy, environment, information and communication technology, raw materials, transport systems, and all that it takes to drive technology within this country. First, I had to present this to UNESCO because we may not be able to fund some areas of this policy. And so we presented this and had the support of UNESCO for the implementation. That was done February this year. The next thing, I called for the STI policy governance. We had the National Council on Science and Technology at Ibadan. 470 delegates were in attendance, 94 memos were received, 72 were considered. Those are the state representation of the of the governance structure of the national policy itself. Space technology. Last time I told you that we launched this satellite when I came on board. This is the mock-up of Nigerian Satellite 2, which we call Nigeria Sat 2. This was launched in Russia when I came on board in 2011, during the administration of His Excellency Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Now, there is a lot of things for us to learn here. You will find out that here you have solar panels, and so we do not just drive space technology without actually going into solar panel technology. Now, remember, His Excellency, the President of this nation, actually endorsed the National Space Act 2010. He went further to inaugurate the National Space Council. Now, without the National Space Council giving us initiative, we cannot proceed. So the year 2011 to 2012 under review, we had 2 low Earth observation satellites, Nigeria Sat 2 and Nigeria Sat X, launched in Russia. Now, Nigeria Sat X was built by Nigerian scientists in Surrey. Now, in March 2012, we launched the communication satellite called Nicomsat 1R. Now, you want to know that in trying to train our scientists, we had to take into consideration even the females. And that's why, if that slide was on, you would have seen a female there, actually within the space AIT lab. Now, look at the space technology. Can I have the next slide, please? We have a roadmap of 25 years. And it will interest you that within the 25 years, we have a 2011 to 2015 roadmap. And we are hoping that after 2015, between 2015 to 2018, we will be developing the Nigerian spacecraft itself here in Nigeria. But then, there are a few things that have to be done. First and foremost, the National Space Council has to give approval for these endeavors to be done. Now, before we go to launch our own satellite, I want to show you a few things. Now, Nigeria is going to move right into this stage where we have an SLV, what we call a satellite launch vehicle. Now, this is from Ariane. Ariane is managed by the European Space Agency that we are trying to work with, and then equally with the Chinese Space Agency as well as the UK Space Agency. Now, these technologies are not indigenous technologies. We have to have international partnership with these bodies. Now, you can have 2 rockets here. Now, these are solid rockets that actually propel this payload, what we call the payload. You will ask us, why should we go into rocketry? We have to go into rocketry because for our space programs to be productive, rockets are used to propel space into outer space. Okay. All right, I think somebody's shaded there. Now, let's look at achievements of space technology. When you launch this space, what have they done for the Nigerian economy? First, security surveillance. I will not discuss that here. Security matters are discussed on different platforms. You may not be able to appreciate it well, but these are land cover maps from Nigeria Sat X after commissioning. We have also urban planning that could be done using these maps. We also have agricultural land use studies and environmental studies surveillance for pest and disease-infested areas, desertification, as well as the Great Green Wall erosion assessment, as well as pollution in Niger Delta. Now, the most spectacular one, which we all are aware of, is the flood management. You can actually see there, that's Lokoja. Sorry, can you go back to that slide? That's Lokoja. Now, that map actually gives us the flood plains and the high plains. Now, you cannot get this map without satellite technology. These maps can give an advisory on urban and regional planning around Lokoja town. Those red areas are those areas that we call high plains, while the green areas shown by the satellite are the areas prone to flood. It's of no use building buildings on these areas. And that's why urban and regional planning are very critical in our use of satellite maps in urban and regional development. Now, what of the next step? We have infrastructural development in space science. You can actually see down by the left, there is our own ground station that we use in monitoring the satellite. You know, when a satellite is in space, it gives what we call a downlink to the ground station. And then the ground station also, in terms of accessing encrypted information, sends an uplink to the satellite. So this communication goes on and on while the satellite is on. Now, these are some of the infrastructural development in space technology. You can see the Space Museum, the Conference Center, the Planetarium. The Planetarium is where we will take you in and you have the space environment. And then this is the first port of call for all space engineers. And you can actually see the data bank building. Now, there is a lot of encrypted data that has to be stored and released when it becomes necessary. That is very beautiful. Now, I was talking about the ladies having their 35% in space technology. The lady there in front is working at NigeriaSat-X in the UK. Now, the same thing that she's doing there in UK will be replicated in Abuja, in that place where we call the Assembly, Integration and Testing Laboratory. Now, what are the strategic space applications of NigeriaSat-2? The calibration has been concluded. Randomly selected imagery worldwide has been captured by NigeriaSat-2. That is what I presented here. Communications of resource inventory, land use and land cover, they are all inside here. Now, we are trying to produce a resource inventory of Nigeria on a scale of 1:50,000. That is ongoing. Now, let's have a walkthrough of some of what NigeriaSat-2 images that have been captured. Next slide, please. We've captured Abuja 3-arm zone. Oh, you've just gone to Dubai. Okay, that's Abuja 3-arm zone. Now, that's from our satellite, NigeriaSat-2. Now, we have a host of such images. Now, that's the umbrella island, artificial island in Dubai, for those of you who have gone to Dubai. Now, there are strategic implications of this. Nigeria can also, put its head high up with other countries and tell you that we can actually have imagery of your own country also. Now, let's go on to the rocketry program. Rocketry, next slide, please. We have launch capability of 5 to 20 kilometers launch. Now, this launch capability in Nigeria has been ongoing, and gradually, because of these rockets that have to propel this spacecraft, while we are working on this spacecraft, we also perfect rocketry, and that's why we have had 20 kilometers launch capability. We're still going on, and we need to have about 200 kilometers launch capability, and even more, so as to be able to actually launch the payload of this system into space. Now, in this respect, we have trained officers of the armed forces, and we've trained about 12 natural engineers in China. Now, we went further by asking Nigerians to take initiative. Remember, I said there should be the Nigerian can-do spirit. Please go back. So a Nigerian student actually gave us what we call a CUBE satellite. Now that satellite can also equally be launched, and it can also bring some information. Now this is how far we've been able to go in order to launch our own satellite here in Nigeria. That is called a CUBE satellite. In fact, some countries in Africa, I wouldn't mention them, have just remained at that level. They've not gone up to rocketry level that we've gone. Now this is the full capacity building photographs. You can actually see the armed forces and the paramilitary agencies, the police, the Federal Road Safety Corps. They are all part of the space program. And so we keep on training them because sometime along the line, they will need this information. Now, what is the international partnership and leverages? We have United Nations appointment. Remember I told you, for you to be able to come out and then present yourself, you need partnership. So we partnered with the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs, and NASDRA was selected as the Africa Center for Space and Weather Research. Furthermore, we have also had another appointment called UN SPIDER, United Nations Platform for Space-Based Information for Disaster Management and Emergency Response Program. Again, this has been granted to NASDA, and we were able to be asked by the United Nations to go to Cape Verde actually for training, and then to train them there. We went there in 2012 and then trained the scientists in Cape Verde. Now, NASDA partnership also goes to NASA, which is United States Nations Aeronautics and Space Administration for the implementation of global navigation. You see, satellite communications are global initiatives, and so there is a kind of cooperation that takes place within the space. And also, we've been given a call station by NASDA in Toro Bauchi Station for space monitoring. Now, an international award was given to the Nigeria Space Program called the 2012 Sir Arthur Clarke Award. NASDA was given this award in 2012. Now, the award says that they recognize Nigeria's highly advanced Earth observation satellite, and this award was given to us in the United Kingdom. Now let's go to other impacts. Telemedicine. This is a medical outreach that can use space initiatives to local communities. That's the vehicle itself, and the University of Lagos University Teaching Hospital has been a very good participant of this program. Now you can actually see us there. I was there live consulting, using our space endeavors to do consultations in Lagos. Now, what happens is that medicine is universal. Now, a consultant at Lagos University Teaching Hospital may want to consult with another consultant in UK. Now, you can actually use space communications for this sort of thing. So we were consulting here with India. The University College Hospital Ibadan also has gone much more better. They can also have teleconferencing with United Kingdom, with United States, Canada on a regular basis. Now, they went further to go to a local government called Akinyele Local Government in Oyo State. Now, patients that needed specialist attention but could not come to UCH had their consultations done at that local government level. Now, they also examined some children and sent images to a specialist at Ibadan. They visited the remotest part of Oyo State and discovered susceptibility to snake bites and blindness from cataracts, and then brought them to UCH for surgeons to work on. Now, telemedicine consultations have been very, very useful for diagnosis of perforated children's eardrums. All this has been done and carried out using our satellite in conjunction with UCH Ibadan. Again, the University of Ibadan I think you have time for some of these slides. They've gone as far back as, getting malignant tumor of a boy thought to be cancerous. And they've treated this using this consultation right at the village level. Now, solar technology, the Silicon Valley. This is my flagship project. There is the Silicon Valley project. Last time I told you that we have to embark on this project because if technology was ever driven in US, it was because of the Silicon Valley of US in California. There are other Silicon Valleys, the 9 Silicon Valleys there. Egypt has the Silicon Valley, Kenya has the Savannah Silicon Valley. So here in Nigeria, we have the Shesco Silicon Valley project. There is the valley itself, a valley of dry bones, nothing there, but it will come to life. We've started by demarcating the fence. Next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, that's the Shesco Silicon Valley. Now the demarcation is going on gradually. And after that, again, remember I told you that most of these things are embedded in this program. And we have to actually, streamline this with UNESCO. And you can actually see me there receiving a handshake because UNESCO is giving us something, their hand will be up, and I'm the receiver, my hand is down. Now let's see what UNESCO has done for us. Specific training for top managers for the Science Park. Now we have collaborations with World Technopolis Association and other areas. Now some of the collaborations and agreements that we've signed on behalf of the Shesco Silicon Valley. Please, the word Shesco is Cheddar Science and Technology Complex. It's a very big complex where all science and technology policies and structures and research environments will be created for them, and there they will actually develop science and technology in terms of driving the laboratories themselves. Now, what are the focal areas of the Silicon Valley? First, Nigerians will produce the solar cells. That will give us an ICT lead. That will lead us to nanotechnology, and it will assist in biotechnology and agri-technology. Now, what we are doing here in this country, all these things are based on solar technology. Simple. They are based on what we call integrated circuits or printed circuit boards. Now, we cannot afford the luxury. We can't, I must repeat this, we can't afford the luxury of training our engineers in engineering technology, in communication technology, all areas of telecommunications, and then we keep on importing all these things. No, that's not a good policy. And that's why the triple helix policy has to be supported by the government. We need to train as scientists in the Silicon Valley the way Americans did in the Californian Silicon Valley. Now that's the value chain from silicon to wafer, wafer to cell, cell to modules, and modules to products. Can you put on, yeah, you're not in tandem with me. That's it. That's the solar technology value chain. You start from silicon, wafer, cells, and finally you get the products. That is what I call the outputs of the triple helix. And except we understand it, we will keep on being a procurement nation and then allowing our children to waste in the universities. I have gone far to have a European partnership. Now I signed a lot of memos with Poland, and Poland is coming in strong. Now Poland is first of all giving us a 7 million waste to fuel plant to that Silicon Valley. Now remember, industrial waste will be generated there and they have to be managed, and so Poland is coming to assist us in that. Now go back to solar panel manufacturing. Now in Kashi we have been assembling solar panels, and I don't know whether they are here, the solar panels. Last time I showed them, they were here, they're outside, okay. Now, we cannot just afford the luxury of just assembling them. we have to produce them. But right now, they have been assembled, and those are the byproducts in Naseni. And that's this assembly itself and its applications. It was successfully applied in Sokoto. We had a village called Danjawa, yes, where we had a 30 kilowatt solar photovoltaic mini grid. What we are saying is that you can use solar panels to power a small village so that they do not actually tap from the national grid. So this has been successful in Sokoto State. Now let's go to biotechnology. Now we have genomic studies being undertaken in biotechnology, and Nigerian cattle and goat genomics have been done, creating a HapMaps resource population of cattle and goats from Nigeria. The H3 Africa project, H3 means human and health and hereditary, genomic studies, is a Pan-African bioinformatics network for Africa. Now, Nigeria is a nodal point, working along with other nodal points in Africa, Tunisia, Nairobi, and South Africa. Genetic engineering, and by genetic engineering, we have been able to improve what we call the Africa biofortified sorghum. This has been engineered for increased levels of vitamin A, iron, and zinc to help curb malnutrition. Now, other achievements of this area has been shown. We have collaboration institutions that consist of African Harvest Biotech Foundation International, Nairobi Institute for Agri-Research, and the Federal Ministry of Environment and then Agri-Research of Nigeria at Abuja. Food security. Now, the BT cowpea research has been done. First successful confined field trial was completed, and the second trial has been completed. We are now on the third trial in the year 2011 to 2012. Now, we have collaborated with a lot of institutes and have been listed here. Now, we've also got on drought resistance rice in collaboration with ICGEB, New Delhi, India, and also the giant fish for the production of induced transgenic Orychromis niloticus using a toolkit has also been done. Bone marrow stem cell transplantation. You see, biotech is different from medicine. While the medical doctor is, focusing himself on patient management, the biotechnology research centers take integral parts of research and then go on to find the research findings. And that's why we are working in conjunction with the Ministry of Health on stem cell technology. NAFDA has done collaborations with USA, and we are also collaborating with the National Hospital at Abuja on bone marrow stem cell transplantation. Now it's very necessary to tell Nigerians that some of these things may not be done except we have the biosafety law signed. The biosafety bill signed into law. I will just skip some of these things because the time is not there. We have also industrial biotechnology. We have environmental issues handled by biotechnology. Now let's go to inputs developed for agri production. We have some of them listed in my slides that are not shown right now. We have inputs developed by Shetsco, biomens fabricated domestically, and prototype of biomens. We have also areas of epilepsy study undertaken by Shetsco. Materials technology. I think we have a motorcycle that we have just done, an indigenous motorcycle. I didn't know it wasn't possible for you to bring the motorcycle here. We have produced the first indigenous motorcycle in Nigeria. These are the components. Thank you. We have the sprockets, the brakes, the clutch, the bearing balls, and some of the cylinders themselves. Now, this is an indigenous product of Naseni here in Abuja. Now, the materials technology has also worked in consonance with Raw Materials Research Council. And there's a whole lot of products here that I may not have sufficient time to, actually discuss. But they move from processing and production of ceiling tiles for gypsum, to ethanol, to moringa tea, plastics and monosodium glutamate, just a lot of things that have been done by Raw Materials. Now, cashew processing also have been done, granite and marble processing. Now, this is one of the output of what we call the triple helix. Now, the Raw Material Research Council brought in an entrepreneur. Now, we trained the entrepreneur, and then we allowed him to use the raw materials to actually produce a few of these things. Okay, I'm told that the complete motorcycle is outside. So when you go out, you go outside, and then you see the motorcycle. Building on road technology. Now, a lot of building road products have been shown. That's a subgrade soil map of Enugu State, and by that parastatal within the agency. We have some, next slide. You can actually see some of the outputs of that agency. You can actually see them there with their road infrastructure machines trying to do local road constructions. Now, Pozzolana Cement is a pilot plant that has been undertaken by NIBRI. Now, that's the construction site. Now, it will interest you that Ghana is already leading Africa in Pozzolana Cement. And we cannot afford to stay behind when other countries are going, Pozzolana Cement has its own advantages over the normal Portland cement. And I wouldn't have enough time to tell you that. Now, those are some of the outputs of those, next slide, of what we can do using NIBRI skills within our local communities. Some of their, next slide, some of their machines are shown. Next slide, please. Yes, those are some of their machines. Now, food technology. Now, we need to develop food technology. The problem with Nigeria is there is a lot of post-harvest losses from farmers. And except Nigeria pursues a very vibrant packaging and processing technology, we'll be wasting the efforts of the farmers, because at the end of the day, their products are wasted. And that's why FIRO in Lagos takes that responsibility of trying to actually process some of these food products. And they have a lot of brand products here. They are all signed there for you to see. I wouldn't waste my time. And there are some ready-to-use therapeutic foods that are actually needed in critical areas of intervention in the hospital. Now, Gari processing technology has been developed, and the tomato waste, where we partner with Vietnam actually to install this project and then train our people on how to use them. Now, right there in Narit, that's the Narit tomato paste plant itself. Organic fertilizers have been done as a project. Engineering and manufacturing technology. Next one, please. Now, NOTAP also has given Nigeria some financial savings, up to 230 billion naira in terms of, regulatory aspect of NOTAP. Now, these savings would have been there if we never had NOTAP. Oh, that's the maiden cycle and local content. Next slide, please. Next slide. We are not next. We've gone past that. Next. Yeah, that's the machine itself. Okay. Now, those are the spare parts that I've just brought up here for you to see. Now, please, you are not moving fast. Next. You'll actually see the framework of that motorcycle. Next. Yeah, that's the framework itself. Next. The framework and other accessories. Then the full motorcycle next. That's the full motorcycle itself. Now, technology incubation. Now, we need to go around Nigeria to harness and train Nigerians on this technology. Can I have the next slide, please? Now, that's the map of Nigeria where we tend to drive technology right to the states. We're not just here in Abuja. And so we have these parastatals called, having to do with technology incubation. Remember, you have to transfer technology, you have to assimilate technology. Technology has to be diffused, and finally, you have to incubate technology. Now, this is the role of the ministry, and we try to do all these aspects of technology. Those are the centers all over the country. Those are the outputs. Next, please. Next, please. That's a pie chart of the outputs of the incubation technologies system itself. Next, please. Again, summary, performance. Next, please. Leather technology. I hope I have so many technologies, that I drive in this. Leather technology. Very simple. Why on earth should Nigerians import this? Is there any reason? You solve it. Answer that question for yourself. But because of the triple helix, we now need to commercialize this product. So entrepreneurs, Nigerians, well-meaning Nigerians, rather than import these things, allow our children to build these things and establish them here in Nigeria. You can actually, next please. You can actually see them working on it. Yeah, you can these are Nigerians. Why should we import military boots when Zaria, Niles, Leather Technology Institute in Zaria can produce these boots? That is why when I started, I said we are operating a triple helix. And except these three come to resolve issues, we will ever remain those who wait to get the slums out of other nations. Next, please. Conclusion. We have built a critical mass of human capital in Nigeria. We have trained Nigerian scientists. They have creativity. They have a sense of adaptability. Over the years, the universities have trained Nigerian children, engineers. Instead of a brain drain, let us have a brain gain. Let's take advantage of our vocational training institutes and incubate technology in Nigeria. We are focused on the ST&I policy. It's a holistic policy that takes care of all the technologies that are to be driven in this country. We have to take on board our R&D initiatives. We have established strategic linkages, both internationally or otherwise. We have partnered. We have sourced for funds elsewhere. We have actually initiated the National Research and Innovation Council, which will soon be inaugurated. We also need to inaugurate the National Research and Innovation Fund, and we need to provide tax incentives and create export processing zones where some of these hard-earned research outputs, after being commercialized, will actually sell out our technology into the world. With the use of the triple helix model of innovation, in our national development strides. Nigeria stands to gain from bringing together the public, the private, the academic, the government sectors into a resolution of initiatives where commercialization will actually induce job creation and Nigeria will be better off. Thank you.
We want to thank the Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Professor Ita Okonbasi.